I have been implementing the medical medium protocols, recommendations for the last 3 years of my life. And today I'm going to list all the symptoms I had or have, and I'm going to give you a little update as to what's happening with my healing. So if you're interested, keep watching. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to list all the symptoms that I had in the past or am still experiencing throughout this journey, and I'm going to give you a little update since I've been on this medical medium lifestyle, the recommendations, protocols, whatever you want to call it, for the last 3 years. So there is a long list of them, so I'm going to work off this little list that I have here to quickly go through them and keep on track and not make this video too long. So let's just jump right into it. The first one that I am known for, or that you could physically see, was myself having eczema, and I've had it ever since I was a baby. And the doctors told me that it was such a bad case of eczema at one point that she saw that my skin was so thin and did not believe that it would go back to normal and that it would definitely scar. And at the age of 13, intuitively, or just, I don't know why I just decided to do this, but I didn't want to use the topical steroid creams anymore, and so I stopped all of them and basically went through a withdrawal at that time. And I didn't know that's what I did, but now I do understand that that's a thing. And so my eczema had cleared up, and then at around the age 25, life got stressful and it came back, but it came back in hives, and my doctor didn't know what it was. And she told me that through some blood tests, I should be basically living in a plastic bubble, because my dust mite score on a scale of 0 to 100 was at a score of 1,895, and I should be living everywhere with plastic. But 2 months later, it disappeared and I was fine again. And later on in life, I went through another stressful time of moving, a new job and new place, and I had rash come up again, and I had just changed my diet to one of that omitted all sugars. And I ended up with eczema all covered on my arms, my neck, my face, and that's when a whole bunch of other symptoms arose as well. So that's my little journey with eczema. But now these days I have not had an eczema flare-up in over a year since applying all the medical medium recommendations. And if I do get a little flare-up, it's just a small one, and it heals within a day. It's really quick and not bothersome at all. Some of the symptoms that I've had before that have completely healed, and I don't have any of those anymore, are migraines, seasonal allergies. I didn't even know that it was spring. Everyone was walking around here saying, oh, you know, my allergies have been bothering me because it's spring. I didn't even realize anything because I don't have any reactions anymore. I used to have jumping vision, where my vision would, that's what I call it because that's what it feels like. It just feels like it jumps like this. I used to have a ton of that all the time. And I had tightness in the chest. Those have completely healed. I no longer have any of those symptoms. Another one would be, I had hair loss at one time. And you can see in my Instagram, I have some comparison before and after pictures of how much hair loss has happened. Hair growing back is still a work in process, but the hair being lost or falling out has stopped significantly. It's kind of gone back to normal again. I used to have ringing in the ears so bad that it would keep me up at night, and it would last for a good 2 months. Now I occasionally get them, but they last maybe about a couple of days or a week at the most. I had some weight gain and bloating, these are symptoms I'm still dealing with that kind of goes up and down depending on when I'm detoxing and the neurotoxins being released or not, and nerve sensitivity. But overall, it's I'm understanding why I'm getting those things where I didn't understand before, and now it's just working towards fixing it. So I do still have those symptoms. Cold hands and feet and numb toes. This one, it was so bad before that my feet and my fingers would be like purple almost, and my toes would be so numb that being able to walk outside would be extremely difficult because I couldn't feel my feet, and so it made me feel very anxious when I would be walking. But I do occasionally get them, but rarely. It's again one of those things, it's not as bad. My feet can warm up, whereas before it would be completely frozen all the way up from my toes to my knees. My whole shin and calf would be freezing and you could feel it, but yet I can be warm everywhere else, or I could be hot like it's summer and my feet would still be freezing. It was very strange. Brittle nails was another thing. My nails used to be so soft. They're still getting their strength back. I used to have extremely strong nails and I could grow them out so beautifully, and people would actually like comment about them and wishing they could have it. But then I got so sick and so deficient in minerals and nutrition and vitamins that I could literally just press it and then it would break. That's how brittle they were. But they are getting back their strength, so I'm happy about that. Another symptom was tightness in the jaw and chronic neck pain. I used to wake up, it used to be really bad that I would wake up in the morning and feel like if you were chewing gum all night and your jaw was just clenched and all those muscles were so sore. It would be so painful that I would end up the next day with a headache because the pain would just keep throbbing and go up to my temples and into my head. And this goes the same with my neck pain that I would have. These days I do get them occasionally, and again it has to do with the same thing about neurotoxins being released and part of being detoxing, but they are no longer that painful and for that long where it was like constantly something that was bothering me. Fatigue and brain fog was a big one for me. Fatigue is not feeling just tired like I want to go to sleep. Fatigue felt like for me exhaustion where each limb was weighing 100 pounds. And brain fog was so bad that I had a hard time just thinking of everyday activities. Just everyday chores were so difficult to do. To make a meal, to think of something, it just took so much energy, and that's what it felt like. That's what brain fog felt like. And again, these symptoms have been coming and going. They're completely not debilitating like before, but they do occur depending if I eat enough, like often enough, or if I overexert myself. They kind of come back. So I have to be mindful in what I'm doing and keep up with the recommendations that the medical medium has put out there. Motion sickness was another one that was so limiting to my life. It limited my life by a lot because every little motion, car sickness, being in a plane, being in an elevator, those all made me like so nauseous. The car sickness in the elevator has subsided by a lot. I'm able to ride in the car. Long drives still sort of bother me, or winding roads, but it was so bad to the point like even just being in traffic, that little jerk or that stop and go would just make my stomach turn. And it prevented me from going anywhere because I didn't want to experience it, so I didn't want to ever get in a car, and I just literally stayed home. Plane rides are still something that I'm dealing with. It's not as bad, but I remember one of the plane rides when the plane wasn't even going, like we didn't even turn on the engine. It was just the reverse when the truck pulls the plane backwards. that made the whole like plane spin. I remember I was sitting there and I was like, oh my goodness, we didn't even take off yet and I'm feeling so sick. But yeah, that's not as bad anymore. Not that bad, but it still bothers me a lot. So plane rides I'm still working on. Car rides are a lot more tolerable, and the elevators are much easier to be in now. Sensitivity to the sun and heat, I was not allowed to, I couldn't be in the sun for more than 5 minutes. And even just being in the car and the sunlight came through the window, that would make me have what I would feel like heat exhaustion, like I was experiencing heat exhaustion. And so it would feel like I would get a migraine, and then I would start to get nauseous because of that. And even just in heat would make me start to feel lightheaded or faint. And then comes the most debilitating symptom of all that I was struggling with for a long time, and that was feeling lightheaded and faint. I didn't know what was causing it. There were many different things that were causing it at that time, but thanks goodness through medical medium I have found the real reason to all of that. But I mean, it was so bad to the point that exercise would make me feel lightheaded and faint. Talking to someone would cause tightness in my jaw, and that would start to make me feel lightheaded and faint. I could be grocery shopping and be looking at the soup cans, and just the optical stimulation was too much, and so that would make me feel lightheaded and faint. Standing in line at the grocery store, like if there were too many people in line, I don't know, it made me feel anxious. I could feel the adrenaline rushing, and I would start to feel lightheaded and faint for no reason. Like I could just be standing there and then I would just feel lightheaded and faint, and that's when my anxiety would kick in. So it wasn't like I was afraid of standing in line. The anxiousness and the anxiety part actually wouldn't happen until after I start to experience the lightheaded feeling and faint feeling. Also being in a crowd of people, crowded space, all of those things would make, I remember it would make, like I could hear the sound go silent, and I knew that right after that, tunnel vision, and then I would feel faint would happen, and that's the kind of experiences I would have. Also, something as simple as walking outside for 5 to 10 minutes would make me feel lightheaded or faint. Like if it was in the sun, or just the lots of cars going by, lots of people, being around lots of people, those all started to make me feel faint. Even if I walked fast, I was walking slower than just a normal speed, like a casual walk speed. I was going like 1 mile per hour. I had to like take a step and walk slowly, because that would prevent me from being lightheaded or faint. So there were all these things that I knew would start to cause me to feel lightheaded and faint, but the factors were like so many. And so I couldn't do anything. But now, basically, I can do all those things. It does happen every so often. Again, just like the other symptoms, it only happens when I don't eat often enough or I overexert myself. But other than that, I am able to do all those things. I'm able to stand in a crowd. I'm able to be around a lot of stimulation. I just started going back to the gym, so I'm able to go back to the gym and exercise again. And I can stand in a grocery store line by myself without feeling faint, which that made me so happy. So my limited life, after being on the medical medium protocols for 3 years, is no longer as limited as it was. I'm not bound to my house. Social activities are still quite difficult for me, but it's getting much better. I am actually able to go out and enjoy things, whereas before, social activities, especially in that first year, was not enjoyable at all. Like, I would push myself to try to do these things because I was on the protocols. I wanted to see how my healing was working, but I was not ready. I was not in any place to do any of that. So now I'm able to enjoy events, be in crowded places, be around a lot of stimulation, and I'm still healing. I'm still healing. I'm not done. And I know that this whole thing, I just want you to know, this whole medical medium lifestyle or recommendations takes time, takes a lot of time. And I just sort of gave up looking for when my time would come and just let it happen authentically, because I was causing myself more stress when I was waiting to know when I was going to heal. And since I've given that up, this whole journey has been so much less stressful and much more enjoyable. So I hope this little update and list of symptoms can kind of show you that some things have healed completely, and it's great that it's gone away, but other things come and go, but they are nowhere near what I was experiencing before. And so even though it hasn't healed completely, it's still, for me, success, because this medical medium lifestyle has given me long-lasting results more than any other thing I have tried, even the doctor's recommendations. This has been the one thing that has given me those long-lasting results, and I am still experiencing more and more healing as I continue. So this is my 3-year update on being on the medical medium lifestyle, and I hope that this, if you are watching this, gives you hope that you too can experience healing just like me.